Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 161st and River. And today we're gonna dive into some off-season talk and what was addressed at the GM meetings this past week. So, as we all know, Brian Cashman was not in attendance at the GM meetings due to a personal issue, but he did speak on Zoom. There were other representatives of the Yankee organization there. They were represented, and yeah, so that's still good. So, first of all, Hal Steinbrenner has yet to, according to Cashman, give him an ultimate number for the payroll. Cashman said the situation's fluid. He also had a quote that was along the lines of, I'm paraphrasing here, I'm going to get it up on my phone, that we have a lot of issues, but one of them is not payroll. I believe it was something along those lines of like payroll's not an issue. We're going to be able to, spend. I'm going to get the exact quote. And I hope he's not just BSing everybody because that's what it should be. I know the situation's always fluid. Out of the things we have here at the organization, payroll is usually not an issue. So that's pretty much. There were reports earlier in the week from Joel Sherman of the New York Post. And I'm not saying Joel's lying because Joel's really, really good at his job. I'm not going to sit here and say Joel's a liar. I'm not going to sit here and say I've heard differently because I haven't. Would Hal like to get under the 300 million threshold? Yes. Would I like to date Sydney Sweeney? Yes. Doesn't mean it's going to happen because it's not. All right. The reason the Yankees aren't going to get below the $300 million payroll if they're gonna be competitive. Now, if Hal wants to be like, screw it, we'll play the kids, and if what happened in 17 happens again, we're a bunch of vets, Holiday past his prime, Judge broke out in 17, and some other guys, let's say they call up Spencer Jones and he has a Judgy in 17, right? And all of a sudden they win, you know, because I think the Yankees, if they had gotten past the cheating Astros team, they probably would have beaten the Dodgers in the World Series. So let's say that. Then we're looking at a whole different situation here. But from everything everyone else said at the GM meetings, it seems like the Yankees are going to spend. Don't know how much, but it seems like they're going to spend. Um, the Yankees would like to retain Bellinger. Um, the quote from Cashman: "We'd be better served if we could retain him." Um, so that's good. Preliminary conversations have happened between Brian Cashman and Scott Boras about Cody Bellinger. Cody's he's gonna cost a lot. Just warning everybody, he's gonna cost a lot of money. Um, and side note, Scott Boras, when he did his press conference, he always comes in with puns. He was extra punny this year. Like the Pete Alonso quote, go on social media and just Google Scott Boras Pete Alonso thing. It was hilarious. My favorite, my favorite, and I wrote about it. I mentioned it in my column last night, um, in Last Word on Sports, about overall like what we kind of heard recapping the entire GM meetings. It was a lot, but when I was doing the Red Sox, I was talking about the Alex Bregman market, and Scott Boras came up with this whole thing for Alex Bregman of, you know, ownership in Beantown went Dunkin' in the market and spent some Starbucks on Alex Bregman, and nobody wants a Brexit at the end of the year. Like, it was corny, it was hilarious, and Michael K said it makes him look like an idiot. So I thought that was funny too. But interest is mutual between the two sides. I think I would be more surprised if Bellinger were somewhere else than if you were back. But With that being said, this cannot be like the 2022 offseason where the Yankees spend their entire time trying to get Judge, right? Then they go get Rodon and Canely, and that was that, right? And they got, I think that was it. Maybe some other minor moves, but that was like really the gist of their offseason, right? It was really bringing back two guys they had and one guy they needed who wasn't good that year and was hurt, and they didn't make the playoffs. So they have to continue to go. Now, I think the Yankees right now as an organization are in a better spot than they were going into the 2023 season. My reason for that is because the Yankees have young talent that are here now and could be here soon if needed that are better than what we had in 2023. Volpe had just broken out. He wasn't good. Dominguez came up in September, got hurt within a week. He looks like he's playing winter ball. I'm going to talk about him in literally our next bullet point. Jason Dominguez will begin winter ball within the next week, according to Lidum. He's going to play for Escalito. Luis Rojas is somehow related to the manager down there. I mean, his baseball connections, Rojas's, run very, very deep. So that wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. So Jason Dominguez, who seemed excited from everything, Escalito was posting reels on their Instagram. I spent my afternoon on Monday trying to get those translated because they were all in Spanish and I don't speak Spanish. So I was getting them translated, and everything that I could understand from the translation, because it wasn't perfect. Judge, he's very inspired by Judge. I guess Judge really helped him throughout the year. And Jason wants to work hard. He wants to do this. So this is good. This is really good for Dominguez and his development. Spencer Jones, interestingly, has been working out at Yankee Stadium. He will take a break and then head to Tampa for more workouts. He's going to be there early. Um, Jones could be an option to join the club out of camp. We knew this. Next, I'm going to skip over Rice and go back to him. The Yankees felt comfortable giving Grisham the qualifying offer. And Cashwood said they'll still talk to Bellinger even if Grisham accepts the qualifying offer. I don't believe he's going to. John Heyman of the Post said he believed that the Yankees believe that he's not accepting the QO. That would be awesome. He had a great year. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. Get out, scram. They need to get more athletic. Trent Grisham is not. What I would like, and I would like to see some of Jones this year. We got to see exactly what we got now. If he does pick up the qualifying offer, or let's say they don't sign Bellinger, then Jones is likely your starting center fielder if they can't find a trade. Now, if Grisham picks up the qualifying offer and Bellinger signs, then one or both of them become expendable. And I expect one of them to be expendable now. And if I were to choose, I would choose to expend Jones. But that doesn't mean you have to. Robert Murray, Fansided, who's fantastic. He's awesome. Really good guy. Great. Reported on his podcast the other day that it's believed that the Yankees are trying to stay away from trading both of them. That doesn't mean that you're going all in for Ketel Marte, who put the Yankees on his list of teams he'd be traded to. That doesn't mean that the Yankees wouldn't go all the way for it and be like, here, have him. Or the one I keep seeing is Steven Kwan. That's not happening. Why would Cleveland trade him? Like, they need to get offense, not lose it, and they need bullpen. They're not, and the Yankees are. What are they? The Yankees aren't a good trade partner because the Yankees do not have bullpen depth to trade them. So no, I don't think Stephen Kwan's a reality, and I think he's kind of overrated, if we're being honest. Anyways, so that's on Grisham. Um, Cashman also said that it was something they were comfortable with, extending him the qualifying offer because they were comfortable with him accepting it. That could also be him saying to the media, "Yeah, we want him back," even though he's like, "Eh, he sucks." Um, I think it was if he declines it, smart by the Yankees to offer the qualifying offer because they'll get a draft pick. If he accepts it, enough said. Ben Rice will be an everyday player next year, but Cashman did not specify a position. And I found that very, very interesting. And I wrote that the other day. Cashman said, here's this quote: I view Ben Rice having an everyday role in the big leagues for us next year. He did not specify a position. And I did write Rice is viewed in the as a middle of the order bat for many years for this organization, um, which is true. But my point is Cashman Cashman knows what he's doing. Cashman knows what to say and how to say it. He's done this forever now. He knows how to put things. He knows how to say things. He's very, very good at what he does. The fact that he explicitly did not specify a position is something. That's something to note. I don't know if Austin Wells is expendable this offseason, but that is something I would look into. Um, Jazz's agent, um, Jazz's agent called up Brian Cashman, I guess last week, about extension talks, and I guess it didn't go anywhere. He's represented by Rock Nation Sports. I think it was either Sandy Alderson or Brody Van Wagenen. What it was a former Met GM. That's what I remember. Called up to the Cashman, and Cashman's like, "Yeah, we're good." I've reported earlier this offseason. Others have reported it. Jazz Chisholm is expendable this offseason. Now they're not going to get him. They're not sending him away for peanuts here, but if they call up Arizona for Ketel Marte and they send Jazz and some other prospects, the Yankees are going to bat an eye. Silver Slugger, 30-30 power, good player. But to my knowledge, he's not someone New York views as a long-time fit here. Therefore, he is expendable. George Lombard Jr. will not be ready for 2026. Cashman was talking about that his offense still needs time to develop. And there's something to that. His offense was not great in the minors in Double A. So I'd expect him to start in Double A, then head to Triple A. And then if he's ready, he can come up. But that's there. Then Boone mentioned on Talking Yanks last week that the Yankees were the least analytical team in the AL East. So Chris Kirshner of The Athletic decided to ask about that, as he normally does. And Cashman said, we've clearly been accused of being too analytical. He, as in Boone, is trying to bring the fans into the dugout with commentary consistently about the front office pulling the strings. It's not true. The Yankees, and I wrote like they shouldn't have used the analytics to alibi Boone's horrible decisions in games, but that's me. and he defended that the Yankees are not too home run reliant. I can't speak to the public narrative stuff. I do know that the team that at homers the other team in the postseason always goes on to typically win 90% of the time. He's right. The Yankees hit 6 home runs in 7 postseason games in 2025. They lost in the ALDS. Cashman mentioned that he has and will continue to have talks with Devin Williams and Luke Weaver. Of the two, I expect Weaver back over Williams. I'd probably expect neither back, but of who has a higher chance of coming back, we'll play that game. Probably Luke Weaver. Devin Williams is gaining interest all around the industry. Miami's in on him. Toronto likes him, but I've heard Edwin Diaz is really strong with Toronto. I've heard LA mutually with Devin Williams. It would not shock me if he ended up in LA. If you put me on the stand right now, I'd say LA for Williams. I'd say Toronto for Diaz. And then Cashman said nothing on Tucker. We really haven't heard much Tucker Yankee. Heyman made the connection yesterday for the Mets as well, but I think that's also Heyman putting Yankees in everyone. Now, I reported earlier in the offseason, and whether people will give me credit or not, that's up to them. But if you go back to during the World Series, I reported that the Yankees were heavily scouting Amai and really, really were going to be aggressive on them. I wrote it during the World Series. Someone else put it out yesterday, and now it's blown up. But the Yankees are heavily scouting Amai, and he needs to be a priority. He needs to be a priority. They're going to be aggressive in this market. Yes. He needs to be a priority. Number one, go get him. I don't want to hear this offseason. Well, we tried our best. Your best isn't enough. Go get him. He's one of the best, Japanese pitchers on the market right now. Go get him. He's not Yamamoto. Maybe that's his upside here. I don't know. Maybe Yamamoto's upside is downside. What's it, Clark Schmidt? Like, still a really damn good pitcher. And, Amai's not going to be like Tamayoko Sagano on a 1-year deal. No. He's going to cost a little bit, and he's going to be here a while. Sagano's also old. And in an organization like the Yankees that has the pitching department that they have, right, that's getting infinitely better. Right now you have Preston Claiborne and Desai Dressel and Matt Blake. You're a better pitching department than you were last year. We can all agree on that. Bringing in someone like Amai that's a good pitcher now, but you can make him great with some fine-tuning and adding another pitch, you need to do it. Now, getting him here is going to be a challenge, but you know what? You got to go do it. Cashman said in his press conference they want to try and be in the Japanese market. Anytime you could be in that market, very successful. And everybody everywhere. The Dodgers. The Dodgers have 26 roster spots like the rest of baseball. Where are they putting these Japanese players? Tell me. They don't have roster spots. Go right now to the Dodgers roster. They have a starting rotation for next year. Hell, they have a surplus, right? And this is to compliment Andrew Neander and their front office. Andrew Neander's their president of baseball operations. And their whole front office, right? Who do they have? They have Yamamoto, Snell, Glasnow, Otani. Then they're gonna have Gavin Stone's gonna come back. And there are other ones that are gonna come back. Gavin Stone, River Ryan, Robleski is a starter. Roki Sasaki is going to get an opportunity in the starting rotation. That's like 7 off the top of my head. Now, they need relief pitching. Gavin Stone's going to get an opportunity. Roki Sasaki is going to get an opportunity in the starting rotation. That's like 7 off the top of my head. Now, they need relief pitching. Gavin Stone's going to get an opportunity in the starting rotation. That's like 7 off the top of my head. Now, they need relief pitching. this isn't a Dodgers podcast, but like Blake Trinan and Tanner Scott were horrible this year. Their bullpen was horrible. And then their lineup, go down their lineup. They're not going to sign Murakami. They have Muncy at third on an expensive deal. They have Freeman at first. Where are you playing them? They're not going to get Okamoto. They have Kim as their Swiss Army knife, who seems to only hit homers against the Yankees. I think he hit like 3 in the weekend we were out there. I think he hit 4 all year. The point of this is the Dodgers don't have spots to play all these guys. So everybody's saying, oh, every Japanese player is just going to go to the Dodgers. Number one, that's ignorant. And number two, that's just inaccurate. They don't have roster spots. Now, if they had roster spots and we're scouting these people, and we haven't even heard the Dodgers in on any of these people. We've heard the Giants. We've heard the Padres. We've heard the Yankees. We've heard the Cubs. We've heard the Mets. Now, of the 2 New York teams, is Hal Steinbrenner want to get into a bidding war with Cohen? Is Cohen going to be in a bidding war for Amai? Because let's be real here. Of the 2 pitching programs of the 2 New York teams, when they go meet with them, which one has more promise? It's the Yankees. That's completely unbiased. If you were to sit down right now and look at the two teams going into spring training without any moves this offseason, who's closer to winning a championship, the Yankees or Mets? It's got to be the Yankees. Yankees have the MVP. I'll talk about that in a minute. In right, they don't have a center fielder. They have a young kid who's going to be playing left field who has tremendous talent. And as Cashman said the other day, on 29 other teams, he would have been starting. Well, no, he should have been starting on your team. You guys just decided to play Trent Grisham the entire summer where he batted like 210 out of the leadoff spot. But Boone thought he was fantastic. So, there's that. First base, you have a young stud who's going to be great. I think Ben Rice is going to be awesome. Second base, Jazz is going to be a star, or could be a star, or could be Trey, and it's Ketel Marte, who is a star. Shortstop's a gaping hole. McMahon is a defensive specialist, not much of a hitter, but I could see that improving. Wells, if he hits this year, he's going to be great. And your starting staff, look at the starting rotation the Yankees have going in, and they haven't done anything. They have Fried, they have Schlittler, they have Heel, they have Warren. They need a starter. Now everyone's like, oh, they're just going to swing Yarborough. Yeah, get Yarborough. I would like Yarborough back. I'm being dead serious. Go get Ryan Yarborough. Why? Because Ryan Yarborough would be a perfect fit in this rotation. Stick him in there, but go get Amai. And then trade Warren or Heel. And then you could stick Yarborough in. Right? And then he can make 4 starts until Rodon comes back. Then when Rodon comes back, I would probably trade Warren. That's who I would deal. Then when Rodon comes back, you would do, Rodon thing, stick Rodon in and let him pitch. Put Yarborough in the bullpen. Then when Cole comes back, you could stick Heel in the bullpen. Assuming he's healthy, he'll probably be hurt. Then you stick Heel in the bullpen. And then when Schmidt comes back, someone else will be hurt. Or there'll be another situation. Or there'll be a leak in the bullpen. And Clark has experience back there. Or, they'll have options. But going to get Amai, or going to get King, or going to get one of those guys, I would like Amai over King because King has an injury history. Not that I don't like King, it's kind of close, but the injury history says go get Amai. Then your starting rotation is very, very deep. Cashman's going to be in the relief market. Relief pitching, there's a big need. I was going through every team last night. The only team I think that, and they're going to be aggressive in the market, that probably doesn't need as much, is Boston. And the Yankees and Cashman alluded to this, and I've kept saying it for weeks. Cashman alluded to the fact that they're going to the offseason with a closer. That they're going to the offseason saying, all right, Bednar's getting the ball in the ninth. And this thing's pretty much done. I love that. And that helps so much. That helps the whole situation. That helps the whole bullpen when you know who's getting the final 3 outs of the game. Before you even put pen to paper in the offseason, you know who's getting the final 3 outs. Obviously they wanted Holmes. Holmes was horrible as a closer. Great reliever, bad closer. Ryan Helsley says he expects the St. Louis Cardinals to reach out to him this winter. I doubt that. That's an interesting one, and I'll talk about that maybe the next podcast. Monday or Tuesday of next week, I'll talk about trade candidates on our team to send elsewhere and targets. St. Louis is pretty much open for shop. So if Jojo Romero, who closed for them for the end of the year, is open, then why are they going to go get Helsley? That's my take. Unless they're going to, or they're just going to do 2016 Chapman. What the Yankees had traded Chapman away at the deadline. And yeah. So that was pretty much it from Cash. I don't know what to expect this offseason. I really don't. I don't know what to expect from Cashman this offseason. I don't know what to expect. I hope they go out and get a lot. I don't think they will. I really don't know. Because people close to the team are like, we don't know what they're going to do. I don't think Cashman knows what he's going to do. I think this whole offseason, this whole operation hinges on the fact that whether Bellinger signs or not. That's what this all hinges on. If Bellinger doesn't sign, and Cashman kind of said it, his job becomes harder. Well, that's fact. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for watching. Subscribe. Have a great weekend. Go Yankees. Judge is the MVP. There was never a doubt in my mind. Raleigh had a great year. Judge had a better year. Have a great night or a great day.